let's talk about the nature of the times for a moment here. We're going to use the language of astrology. The language of astrology is probably the best language we can utilize in order to come up with a communal logic which we all can relate to, no matter where or who we are. So I want to talk about this Pisces full moon coming up on the 10th of September 2022. The chart's adjusted for my location, but you can adjust it for your own for a more personalized expression of how this is playing out for you. So let's just decode the pictures here. I learn best from doing. I take in all information I can find, perspectives. I watch a lot of other astrologers. I watch a lot of tarot readers. I watch a lot of spiritual people. I research history. And I've got a memory bank. I don't forget anything, so I just go back through my emotional reserves and understand what it is that was maturing within me through different processes in life. And when you start to do that kind of thing, you start to see patterns. When you see patterns, you can correlate them to perspectives. Astrology is a system that can coalesce varying perspectives into a communal logic so that you can communicate what it is that's happening. And that can be a personal thing or a transpersonal thing, something happening in the collective, to the societal expressions. So as you see here, we've got the sun, 17 degrees Virgo, opposing the moon here, 17 degrees Pisces. So we've got a lot of things happening. As you can see, we've got this pretty blue box here, or rectangle. We've got all these red lines and stuff. If you stare at it long enough, you'll be able to see things. And what do I mean by that? When you're a child, you didn't know anything, you would stare at something and you would stir emotions, you would stir insights, ideas would come up through you. And you would have a base level understanding. And then reality or some information would come to you and it would either correct what you understood as something that was false, or it would feed into what it is you felt and you could see a pattern emerge. And that's how I am. I'm a pattern person. I know what I experience. I may not know the full story, may not have a complete understanding, but it's enough for me to form a consensus understanding for the objective truths that come to me, or the objective falsehoods. So we've got this full moon in effect. Pisces, the Piscean dream, what we're floating out of, the sword of Aquarius cutting through. Pisces is the ineffable. When you march through Aquarius, you break all the paradigms, you get outside of the consensus reality narratives, what has been established, and you begin to have a sense of understanding that we just don't know it. We don't know what the hell's going on. It's not stranger than we imagine, it's stranger than we can imagine. And we are posed with the paradox of Pisces. And that's what drives us to understand, actually, because the polarity of Pisces, the ineffable, is Mercury, or Virgo, ruled by Mercury. Pisces ruled by Neptune, co-ruled by Jupiter. But Virgo is exactitude. Virgo is understanding what you're working with, how best to utilize it, what goes where, how to organize things, how to take the processes and implement them in a way that is optimal. Okay, that's, to me, what Virgo represents when I think about it in the day-to-day life, what I'm doing in the here now. But it is also the purity of your soul's purpose in this world. What is it you're bringing to fruition here? What are you tending? What garden are you tending and harvesting from? So what do I see right away? I'm just going to look at the moon and the sun, this axis. Well, we've got this sextile trine to Uranus, to the north node, to the south node. And we've got this square here happening to Mars. We've got the yod, it's a loose yod between the Sun, Chiron, and Saturn, the finger of God. So if you take those things into the equation, you can see that the planetary energies which rule over these signs are in this equation. I didn't mention Mercury yet, but Mercury will be hitting retrograde 7 hours, I believe, after this full moon. So whatever's happening, it's all part of this orchestra. There's a song, there's a symphony playing, and you're one piece of it. But within you is an infinite amount of symphonies that you can play as you're called up to play your piece in the grand scale of life. So I can see here with this full moon that there is a purity of understanding who you are in relation to the unified field, other people. Who you are in relation to them that was not truly who you were because it was a shadow element of a wound you carried. Maybe you clipped your wings, maybe you dulled your light, maybe you played down for other people's egos. Maybe because other people couldn't face their wounds, you had to face their wounds by hiding your own and pretending that your pain was non-existent and their pain was yours. And that can be other people in your life, family, friends, lovers, enemies, the world at large. So let's get into how we can utilize this information to improve our psyches, to get ourselves on track here. So we know the world's going to happen regardless. You know, regardless if you're just floating in life or you're swimming towards the goal, the waves are going to come. Sometimes you get knocked off course, and sometimes that's a blessing in disguise. Sometimes you get pulled under, you get pushed under. And those times are the teaching times which show you the value of where it was you were when you were above water. The little things in life, those constants that everyone shares, you know, just feeling a good energy in the moment. The wind, the sun. So let's be a service to ourselves here first. You've got to put your own oxygen mask on first. If you can't do that, then you're going to sacrifice yourself, you're going to martyr yourself, you're going to panic eventually. If you're trying to take care of everything and everyone else that's out of your control, or that shouldn't even be in your psyche. You got to take care of you in order to take care of someone else, right? Otherwise, you're holding on to a tension of self-preservation, the tension that you're sacrificing, that you're not worthy of reciprocity. Logically, when you think of it, it doesn't make sense, but that's the energetic frequency of what it is you're doing. So, heal yourself. Figure out what is the value to yourself. How can you show up in relation to this world as a sovereign individual, so that you don't fall into the malaise of the haze of whatever doctrines being spit by all the algorithms throughout whatever media you're consuming, or the people you are in connection to are consuming. Most importantly. once you've identified what it is you can be of service to in your own healing process, and you walk that path, you bring that energy into your life, into your relationships, into your perspective of reality. You know, we are in this Uranus North Node energy right now, where we have the choice. Do we fall into the malaise of the Piscean dream and we continue to go down with that ship? Or do we step into the Uranian field, the sovereign individual, the collective individual ability that we all have to be our own self in rebellion to the madness of this world and the situations we find ourselves in? How can we show up understanding the universal wound of life, just being alive, separated from the source? How do we play out that energetic role through our lives during our early imprinting with our families, our parents, our friends, the societies, the systems we're stuck in? Okay, once we've established that we have a sense of our value, the value we can provide to ourselves is the value we can provide to other people. If we can heal ourselves, if we can forgive ourselves, then we can forgive other people. We can see that everyone's in a healing process. Some people are caught deeper in their trauma loops than others. Doesn't mean what they're doing is right, doesn't mean you have to agree or support them, but if you have to put your foot down, if you have to slap a fool, know that you're doing it within the context of your own healing process, and what you do for you helps other people if it's a benefit to you. And it isn't at the expense of another's freedom, health, any of that. All right, so let's go 7 hours ahead here. Maybe it's more than 7 hours. What the hell? All right, 12 hours? Yeah, well, in Central Time, USA, it's going to be on September 10th. If you're overseas in Europe somewhere, it's going to be September 11th. September 11th, that's kind of an occultic date. A lot of things happen on 9/11s. There's significance with 9/11. A lot of the trauma of the Uranian field is encapsulated in that number. So let's see, as Mercury goes retrograde, we are seeing certain players involved here with this process. And this is the ongoing symphony of this full moon and many other alignments which have already happened. There's cycles within cycles, and they all play together. If you play music and you play one beat, you notice if you mix other beats, you create a third beat, you create an overmind, and you can hide those things in and out of cadence through weird tempos. So we've got Venus here squaring Mars, just falling out of conjunction with the Sun. We've also got Mercury here trining Mars in Venus's sign, retrograde. We've also got Mars just on the cusp of that south node of Uranus. Now the outer planets, every planet has nodes, a nodal axis. The outer planets, the nodal axis moves much slower, so I give those more significance. I don't really take into a lot of nodal points from the planets, but I do with the outer planets, particularly Uranus, because that is the evolutionary impulse of the collective, whereas Pluto is the evolutionary impulse of the individual, the soul. And in that way, these two work together, infusing the spirit of the Neptune here. So Mars is heading into that nodal south node of Uranus zone. I believe it's 12 to 18 degrees Gemini at this time. We've got Mars trining this Mercury that's going retrograde. Mercury will be going over the Libra point 2 more times here. So we can see where Venusian themes, from a societal perspective, Libra is that middle ground. It's the air above the earth, below the heavens. It sees everything, it touches everything. Libra is that perfect balance of mind, body, and spirit in relation to micro to macro. It's like the midpoint from you to society. There's this interface, and that's the Libra energy. That's the balance. So we're seeing where we're out of balance in terms of our own masculine, feminine energies, and how that microcosmic expression is emanating out of us and from the heavens down. And it's being coalesced and corralled through different systems, slower changing dynamics in this ever-flowing stream. So where's the imbalance between the passion and the love? Where's the imbalance between the right makes might and the reason? What is the reason? Okay. How do we reconcile these? Where's the reconciliation of the balance that we've held, the imbalance within us, as we've been programmed, indoctrinated through the algorithmic expression of the natural cycle of evolution through society, through our cultures? How do we recalibrate that? Not recalibrate it to what once was the golden era, but to what could be through the here now, through you, through your psyche. Who are you and what are you bringing to form in this world? Are you contributing to the shit show, or are you working to change it? Are you content to lay on the sidelines and complain about your life, complain about other people, pick sides, only to be turned against later on by the evil ones, the shadow people, the bad parents, the bad teachers, the bad systems? If you've noticed, if you do watch any kind of mainstream news, I would advise not doing it. Even if you're conscious of how insane all that crap is, it's still programming you. I don't care who you are. If you pay attention to that shit, it's like eating food with bad ingredients in it. It doesn't matter if you're aware that there's shit in your food. Just cut it out. It's all BS. I would advise people to consider that most of what they see is algorithmic, AI programmed, control shift face garbage that's happening. People have psychological profiles on the specific archetypes of individuals. And as you can see, we've been tested to see just how accurate this data is, and it's ratcheted us into these weird little groups. So just watch now as the dials start to get turned on these groups. So the groups start to, you were good for doing this, you were bad for doing this. Oh wait, no, you were bad for doing that, now you're good for doing this. This is how bad parenting works, how bad management works. One day you're awarded for something, the next day you are punished for the exact same deed. This is gaslighting. This is how psychological manipulation happens. So don't believe any of the bullshit you're hearing in the news. Don't sacrifice your freedom to the wounds of your past by projecting your fear, your guilt, your shame as a virtue that you can hang on to because you joined some club in society that's not going to exist in 5 years. I got the shot, I'm a good person, I'm saving old people. I wear 2 masks, I do all this garbage, I do whatever. I'm a good person. I support this group, I don't support that group because of this and this and that. Where'd you get all this data? Where'd you get all this information? How did it feel when you ignored what you knew to be true within yourself and you accepted a consensus reality agreement over what it was that was true within you, what your spirit was talking to you about? Well, this is a time to change that. This is a time to cast all that shit aside. We all make mistakes. And when we make a mistake, we see it's part of a learning process. If we repeat a mistake, then we know it's a true mistake. That's on us. We own that. It's up to us to make the changes we want to see within ourselves and within this world. So take these times, think of these Virgoan themes. How are you going to bring heaven to earth? What service are you going to be to yourself first? And then let the natural progression unfold from there. Put your oxygen mask on so your brain can think clearly. Take the shit off your face. It's not virtuous to be a scared, angry teenager your whole life. It's sad. It truly is. But it's not your fault. These are the times, these are the dynamics we're living in. It's only your fault if you can't see the truth within yourself and you continue to play games. So use that Martian energy to help fuel the Venusian love within yourself. Bring the balance, the reconciliation of your dark and light together and see what colors you create. We are tempering the expression of Black Moon Lilith in these times. The anima, the animus, they are working through us. They seek balance. They seek reciprocity. And to get there, you have to realize there's a problem first. So we may have major financial issues globally. We may have power grid issues. We may have food short. We may have all sorts of shit. That's life. You know, things happen. It's not what happens, it's how you respond. And you will not respond unless you get out of the shadow projections of your own prism, because you'll just be reacting from the same loops that have you trapped in the head, the ego. Shadow side Aquarius, we're understanding our power through what is false and what is true within ourselves first, and we're seeing how those fail in society. So yes, people pull strings. Yes, people are part of a technocracy. Yes, we are all-powerful gods. But beneath all that, there's just everyday life. It's a gift to be alive. It's a gift to be able to understand perspectives and speak upon them. It's a gift, a greater gift to be able to hear those, though. So forgive yourself, otherwise you won't be able to forgive anything or anyone else. You don't have to forget. You just move on and live your best life. That's the best revenge. That's the best anything. To live your best life. Alright. Thanks for watching.